till now what we have been using is that we have been using client-side controllers. Now in this video we will talk about server-side controllers. And server-side controllers are nothing, they are just Apex classes. Like in standard programming, we call a controller, we define our custom controllers and we link that to our Visualforce page by the markup controller equals to name of the class into our Apex colon page tag. Okay, so same thing we need to do here. For server side controller, we will go to file, click on new and create an Apex class. Okay, and let's name my class demo server. Anything you can name it. Click OK. So it will create an Apex class by name demo server. Okay, and now to use this into our component, simply in the component here, the same like we do in our VF page, we will say controller equals to demo server. Okay, and save it. So the controller demo server becomes a controller for this component, and this public class demo server in Lightning component should always be with sharing, because Lightning components, Lightning framework, it does not take into account the CRUD operation, the CRUD accessibility, the field level security things and all by default. So when you apply with sharing, it also takes care of the sharing capabilities of that user, whether the user has the access to that particular object or not. So that automatically enforces those CRUD, the profile and settings to the class. Okay, so always ensure that you use with sharing keyword. Now in this controller we can define a method here. Let's say I define a method. Always create a static method, because the static method and the should will not lose its value, and it should refresh, should not hold the value. Okay, so you know what static methods are. It will always hold the recent values and it will get rid of the previous values. So we need a stateless method, so every time it is called it loses its state, and so that we can use it again and again. So for that, what we will do, we will simply say public static, then we need to define the return type, and this is nothing related to Lightning framework. This is a common OOPS programming. Even in Java.NET, you define your methods like this. Let's say I method returns a string. Okay, return type, and then we need to specify our method name. So let's say I call it server method. Okay, and if it's taking any parameter, you can simply give the parameter here. In our case, let's say it takes a first name, so I will say f name here. I will save it. So this will take first name and of type string. Okay, what's the problem here? That's okay, we need to just complete the method here. And now what we will do, we will simply return I am coming from server. Okay, and close this. So we have defined a class, used this as a controller into our component, defined a static method, and we are simply returning that this is a server side controller. If we call this function, whatever is returning, this is not coming from client side controller, it is coming from server side controller. Now this is a simple Apex class which could be used in a Visualforce page as well. But to enable it for the Lightning framework, you simply have to have an annotation here which says @aura enabled. Okay, so by writing this annotation aura enabled, we are basically enabling our controller for the Lightning framework. So this is done. This is our controller. Now let's go back to our component here, and in our component let me define one attribute which we will use to make some modification, changes or program to see the demo. Aura colon attribute, let's name it as f name, type will be string, and let's provide some default value to it as well, although it's not mandatory, but for the demo purpose, for the training purpose, let's provide some default value. Let's say I call it get skills. Close my tag here. Now what I want to do, I want to call a controller on click of a button. So what I will do, I will define a button as well. And how do we do that? UI colon button. Then button should have a label. Label equals to, let's say, connect to server. And here we have press. On press, what we are doing, we are calling a method. Let's say we name the method echo. Okay, and close our tag here. Now on press of this button, this method, this function needs to be called. But is this function in our controller? No, it is not there. The method name is server method, and here the name is echo. So where this function will be defined, where this method will be defined, this method will be defined into our client side controller, where we will call the method of our server side controller, and whatever operation we want to perform on that, we can do that from our JavaScript controller. We can even check for the response, if the response was success, if it was a failure, or if it was incomplete. So we can do lot of things here. Okay. So in the next video, we will define our echo function. But just to recap everything, that a server side controller is an Apex class, and you simply define it like you define a class. It has to be with sharing to enforce the sharing facilities, the sharing capabilities, the CRUD access, the profile settings and all. And you need to enable it for Lightning Framework by using annotation Aura enabled, and you can simply link to that by using controller equals to demo server, the name of the controller.